Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another game collecting video. So, as some of you may be aware, I've been making a lot of poor financial decisions lately. Game collecting, I've been wasting money, it's one of the same. And I actually just got every SEGA Saturn Sonic game. Here they are all right here, every Sonic game released for the SEGA Saturn. Now, you may be wondering, why did I buy these? And there's multiple reasons, but I can't reveal them right now. It's actually for a future video, so, yeah, just stay tuned for that. But for now, I just wanted to make this video just kind of looking through all of them because, you know, to me, the SEGA Saturn era of Sonic games is a weird one, and it's one that's not very talked about, mainly because the lineup of games, for one, there are only 3 of them, and for 2, these aren't the best games, you know? Like, there's no mainline Sonic releases here at all. And, you know, they're just not that good of games, you know? Even though, as much as I like Sonic R, it's not a good game. So I'm not really going to bother going in release order here, so we'll just start with Sonic 3D Blast. So this game, I don't even know what to say about this game. It's just kind of there. I do like this version better than the version that released on the Genesis, which I also own. But it was released on the Saturn because Sonic Extreme got canceled, as we all may know, so they decided to release this game on the Saturn to kind of make up for that. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Opening Sega Saturn cases is always so scary. And there's the disc right there. Looks pretty nice. You know, the thing with these Sega Saturn and Sega CD cases is the fact that, like, the discs don't like staying in the actual plastic. Some of them have these little foam protectors, which I'm pretty sure my copy of Sonic R does. But yeah, others, they just kind of sit right here, and it's very, very annoying. So let's slide this manual out here. I don't want to be very careful because, you know, these things are very fragile. But there you go. You get a good look at the cover art for the game. And, you know, it's cool because the manuals of Sega Saturn games act like the cover art. So it works like a normal CD, which I think is really cool. And I really like this cover art too. It's very nice and expressive, especially compared to the Genesis one, which, you know what, let me just go get that real quick for comparison. So here's the Genesis version of the game. You know, Sonic's model here just does not look very good. I have to, like, reach around my mic here. So yeah, I do like the Saturn version a lot better when it comes to the box art. It just looks way more expressive and, you know, modern, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna put that to the side. So let's take a look through this manual and see what we got. This is actually my first time looking through the manual here, so this is news to me. So it says starting up, you know, just all that good stuff. And we get kind of a look at, you know, the startup. So we have the how to set up the game and all that, you know, normal stuff. And then we have the story here. So I'll kind of zoom in here. It says Sonic and his friends are off to visit the mysterious Flicky Island. According to legend, the island contains precious gems, among them the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic must find the Flickies, mysterious little birds who hold the key to finding the gems. Flickies are rarely seen, and it is said that their existence is tied closely to the location of the Chaos Emeralds. As we go down here, it says, you know, Dr. Robotnik has hatched a new scheme. His target this time is Flicky Island. He ascribed his presence to the Chaos Emeralds on the island. You know, just kind of giving you some backstory and some kind of context to what happens in the game. So yeah, it's kind of neat, you know. It just talks about the Flickies and the Flicky dimension, which I didn't even know that was a thing, Flicky dimension, but apparently it is. It just kind of tells you the story here, you know, cool stuff. I'm pretty sure the Genesis manual is pretty similar to this one. Of course, we have the 2 different control schemes here, one for the 3D control pad and one for the regular control pad. I have the 3D control pad. I'm thinking about getting a regular controller though, because my 3D control pad is busted, like the joystick is busted on it, so it don't work that well, but, you know, it's nice to have. You kind of see the controls here. Got a really cool render of Robotnik right there, which I've never seen before, but that's neat. So as we move on, just kind of have the options, kind of detailing the UI, and, you know, there's Knuckle. There's a nice render of Knuckles that I've also never seen before. That looks really cool. And as we move along, it just tells you about mechanics in the game, like the special stages, which are different from the Genesis version, and I do like them a lot better in the Saturn version of the game. It just tells you about the different items and whatnot, you know, the dimension rings and all of that stuff. Then it details all the zones in the game. My personal favorite has always been Rusty Ruin Zone, mainly because of the atmosphere. And in the Saturn version of the game, like, it's really cool because it actually, like, rains in stuff, which is cool. And then we move on to, like, you know, tips and tricks and the game over screen and all that, and then you get the credits of the game, and, you know, that's all nice and cool. So yeah, that was that. And I think that's it. And it looks like, what do we have here? Business reply mail. Oh, that's interesting. Sega Saturn registration. So I can maybe register this game if I want to. Limited warranty. That's a cool piece of history, honestly. And then game notes. Game notes. You know, you're probably encouraged to like write stuff on here, you know, to like take notes on things, which that's honestly really cool. It would be cool if my copy of the game had like, you know, stuff going on. That would be neat. But yeah, there's Sonic 3D Blast. So moving on, we have Sonic Jam. So this is one of the most infamous SEGA Saturn Sonic games. We look on the back here, it just kind of says like you got all of the Sonic the Hedgehog hits on one blistering CD because this was a collection. The details kind of the new modes and stuff is really cool. And I've always been a fan of the Sonic Jam art. It looks really nice. Get a better look at the box art here. Looks really nice. 4 classics on one Jammin' CD. How cool is that? And on the back here, we have an ad for Saturn Bomberman. So that's kind of neat too. I always forget that game exists, but, you know, now I know. So, you know, something I'm noticing already with the Sega Saturn Sonic games is that a lot of the manuals are in pure black and white, not colored. What can you do? You know, there's not really much they could have done there, but it's not a huge deal. So yet again, we have, you know, the starting up thing, the controls, all of that good stuff. You know, this is pretty standard stuff by this point. We have the 3D control pad controls, of course, for the Sonic World mode, which I'm sure this manual will detail soon. And it says, let's jam, and it just kind of tells you what the different modes are. You have the game mode, which has you select the different games, Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, and then you know, has the options and whatnot. Not much to say there. Just kind of tells you what the extra modes do and whatnot. Tells you how the Sonic and Knuckles lock-on works. As we move along, now it details Sonic World. So it says Sonic World is a special game in which you can look back on the history of Sonic the Hedgehog. You can also challenge yourself by going on missions in search of a variety of objects. Throughout Sonic World are exhibit buildings documenting Sonic's past. Walk up to a building's door and press A, B, or C to enter. So yeah, it just kind of, all this just kind of details what Sonic World has in it, like the character house, music shop, movie theater, art gallery, all cool stuff, man, you know. Sonic World is a very good idea if you ask me, and it has Hall of Fame, World Mission, you know, stuff to do around the map, and yeah, then we have another notes page here where you can take notes. Not much in here, you know, since it's not really a big game, it's just kind of there. I still think it's really cool, though, how I own this game in the first place. You know, it's a very rare game, so it's cool. And finally, we have Sonic R. So, this game is underrated, if you ask me. It's a very underrated racing game, so let's pop this sucker open and see what we got inside. Alright, let's take a look at this manual. On the back, we have an ad for Sega Touring Car Championship. I have no idea what that is. Here's the front. You know, the box art looks cool, but I feel like the older version of the box art, like the pre-release box art, looks so much better than this, so I have no idea why they decided to go with this instead. But again, table of contents, I'm sure we'll have another starting up screen. Yep, it's just the same starting up page that every other one has. Sonic and Tails are enjoying a little time off from their adventure. The trip they have planned will be a nice relaxing vacation, vacation, or so they think. Tails spots a huge sign alongside the road they are currently traveling on. It is a recruiting advertisement for the World Grand Prix. He says, Sonic, oh, there's going to be a huge race with all the best racers in the world. This is interesting, man. I don't really want to read the rest of this, but you can pause the video right now to take a good read on this if you want. But I didn't realize that Sonic, they made this much backstory for Sonic R of all games. You know, like that's interesting to me. It says getting started, SEGA Saturn control pad, and for the 3D controller, and we've already seen all this. Select mode, you know, there's not really much else to detail here. It's just the select course, select character, while on the course, Grand Prix mode, time attack, you know, it goes through all that. This manual is pretty long though. I have 1 player versus 2 player mode, you know, it just details literally everything about the game, like the options and the save data system and the time attack mode and the more 1 player versus 2 player and all the collectibles you can get. Man, this we would be here all day if I went through this whole manual. So yeah, it just goes through basically everything you need to know about the game. Sonic is the fastest of all the racers. He's so fast that he almost lifts off the ground when he runs. So take care with cornering or you might miss the turn. Shit, fuck. Sonic has excellent jumping ability too. Okay, and then with Tails, it says Tails is not as fast as Sonic, but he's gone. Okay, so it just kind of like details what their abilities are. I don't think there's really much else to say here. You know what? I want to see what they say about Amy in a car. Maybe Amy's car doesn't have a very high top speed, but there are some pretty wonderful things it can do. For one, it can act as a fast... Okay, so they don't really acknowledge the fact that, why is Amy in a car? Alright, so there are all of the Sega Saturn Sonic games. So yeah, they're all very weird games, but I'm glad to own all of them in my collection. And yeah, it's cool to have them, man. These were very expensive too, so... You know, bad financial decisions, of course. Don't try this at home unless if you like wasting money, but... yeah, man. So, that's going to end this video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.